Waking up inside a novel as the designated villain, the second male lead, was disorienting enough. But getting slapped with divorce papers the moment I opened my eyes? That was just rude. Caleb, he's back. Sign the papers and get out. Don't let him see you here. I glanced at the number on the check she slid across the table, and clarity hit me instantly. My wife's one that got away. Her soulmate had returned. She was clearing the board. I signed immediately. Being a placeholder? No thanks. Whoever wants that job can have it. With the ink barely dry on the divorce settlement and a mandatory 30-day waiting period before the decree was final, I lay back on the king-size bed in the sprawling villa, feelings complicated. I adapted quickly to this new reality. In the original book, the character Caleb Vance was obsessed with the female lead, my soon-to-be ex-wife, Elena Sterling. He caused endless trouble, eventually kidnapping her to threaten the hero, only to end up blown to pieces with no body left to bury. I clutched the bank card to my chest and checked the balance on my phone, letting out a long sigh of relief. There are plenty of fish in the sea. With money and property, finding a wife wouldn't be hard. Why fight the protagonist? That's a death wish. The new Caleb Vance, was a rational man. I wasn't going down that road. Just as I was drifting off, the phone rang. Caller ID wife. Elena calling? Did she regret it already? The money hadn't even warmed my pocket yet. I picked up, and her cold voice cut through the line. Caleb, come get your things. Julian won't be happy if he sees them. Just throw them away. I almost said it, but stopped. Free stuff is free stuff. Elena might be cold, but she was generous. The things she bought me were worth a fortune. I clear my throat. Sure, I'll be right there. Terrified she might change her mind about the check, I hung up and drove over. When I arrived at the estate, I was surprised to find Elena there. She was lounging on the sofa in a tailored black skirt suit, barefoot, her toenails painted a soft pink. Her legs were long and sleek, her gaze deep and unreadable. Her makeup was flawless, radiating a lazy, aristocratic elegance. She was undeniably stunning. In the book, Caleb's grandfather had saved Elena's father, which was the only reason a small-timer like Caleb could marry into the Sterling Empire. I shook my head. Whatever. Time to pack. I went up to the second-floor master bedroom. It felt sterile. The walk-in closet was filled with designer clothes, some with tags still on. Jackpot. I'd sell the new ones and wear the rest, saving a fortune on wardrobe. In the drawers, I found a dozen luxury watches, Patek, Rolex, and diamond cufflinks. I didn't know much about them, but the logos screamed money. I packed 8 boxes full of clothes and accessories. Just as I was about to leave, my chest tightened. I sat on the edge of the bed, overcome by a lingering emotion from the original body. Acting on instinct, I reached under the bed and pulled out a cardboard box. Inside was a diary and a photo album. January 1st. Finally met Elena today. Father says she's my fiancée. I didn't expect her to be so beautiful. I think I'm in love. January 5th. The Sterling family looks down on me. Elena told me we'd be married in name only. It hurts, but I agreed. Just seeing her is enough. March 11th. We got married. Elena set the date to coincide with the company's 10th anniversary. Efficient. I have no complaints. March 12th. She gave me an agreement. It says if he ever comes back, I have to leave. I didn't want to sign, but under her gaze, I crumbled. It was a chronicle of Caleb's pathetic devotion. A bona fide sim. Elena gave him nothing but cold shoulders for 3 years, yet he stayed. Now the real owner of her heart was back, and Caleb was expected to vanish. The original guy probably died of a broken heart, allowing me to take over. I shook my head, put the diary back, and opened the photo album. I froze. It was entirely Elena. Sitting, standing, scolding servants, sleeping. Hundreds of photos. This Caleb really loved her. I thought he was just a possessive psycho, but he loved her to the bone. The margins were filled with notes on her preferences, detailed to the extreme. True, Elena was beautiful and rich. Who wouldn't like her? But a man needs self-respect. No one to fold him. I sealed the boxes and called a moving van. As I stepped out of the building, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan pulled up. A man stepped out. 6 feet tall, pale complexion, wire-rimmed glasses, slender build. He looked melancholic and slightly frail. We shared a resemblance around the eyes, but I looked far healthier. You must be Caleb, he said softly. Thank you for taking care of Elena these past years. I got it. This was the male lead, Julian Thorne. I gave a fake smile. Don't mention it. Elena and I took care of each other. That's what married couples do. His face darkened instantly. I laughed internally. We hadn't even finalized the divorce, and this guy was already marking territory. Before I could speak, Elena's voice rang out. Julian, what are you doing here? She rushed past me like a gust of wind, straight into his arms. She looked back at me, eyes sharp. Why haven't you left yet? Elena, in a rush. I scoffed. If not for yourself, think of the company. If someone snaps a photo, Mr. Thorne becomes a homewrecker. After all, we haven't received the divorce decree yet. Elena's face soed. Julian frowned, his eyes turning sinister. I held their gaze. Caleb, you promised, she hissed. I did, but I also have dignity. If you want this divorce, wait quietly. I wasn't the doormat the original Caleb was. Seeing them embrace in front of me, I wasn't going to take that line down. Before Elena could retort, Julian held her back. You misunderstood. I haven't seen Elena in 3 years. I'm just taking her to catch up with old friends. If you'd like, you can join us. They're friends. The elite circle of snobs. No thanks. Pass. I'm Busse. But a word of advice. I pointed at Julian. Watch your step. The aristocracy is messy. I looked at Elena. She understood my warning and took a subtle step back from Julian. Julian's face went black. He looked at me with ice in his eyes. I snorted, hopped in the moving van, and headed to my own villa. It was a property Elena had put in my name. With the house and the luxury goods, my future was secure. I sold the new clothes to a consignment shop for a quick 30 grand. The accessories went too. My bank account looked healthy. Divorced and rich, I could retire. But there was the issue of work. The original Caleb worked at the Sterling Corporation. Should I quit? No. Let them fire me. I get a severance package. I transmigrated to enjoy life, not suffer. But the protagonist halo was stronger than I thought. The next morning, social media exploded. Elena called me, screaming, Caleb, did you do this? I was groggy. Do what? Yesterday. If I find out you orchestrated this, you're dead. She hung up. Confused, I checked the notifications on my phone. Someone had snapped photos of my move out, capturing Elena and Julian in the frame. High definition. Hashtag Sterling heiress divorce, hashtag first love returns, hashtag homewrecker scandal. Elena was the Sterling family's golden child. Our marriage was low-key, known mostly to insiders. But now it was everywhere. Julian was being roasted as a homewrecker, and I was collateral damage. I tried calling Elena, but the line was busy. I sent a text, solve this. I don't want trouble. She didn't reply. Online, the narrative shifted rapidly. Julian and Elena were college sweethearts. The husband is the intruder. My aunt worked for the Sterlings. She says Caleb forced Elena into marriage with a debt trap. That's why there was no wedding. Julian missed the objection because of a car accident. So Julian isn't the homewrecker. He's the victim. Caleb is disgusting. Elena is finally free of the scumbag. Julian was painted as a tragic romantic hero, and I became the villain. Any comment defending me was dogpiled by bots and fans until the user deleted their account. I clenched my fist. Thief crying, stop thief. Deeply in love. Or was he for 3 years? A car accident doesn't break your fingers. He could have called. Now he's playing the saint. Elena ignored me. Phoenix. If this wasn't resolved, I wasn't signing the final papers. Before I could act, my parents showed up. I was about to eat lunch when someone pounded on the door. I opened it to find a middle-aged couple looking furious. My heart skipped a beat. A deep, instinctive throb of fear pulsed in my chest, a remnant of the original host's trauma. Caleb, you're really something now? You dare to move out? Where is Miss Sterling? His father barked. What are you staring at? Your mother and I have been looking everywhere, and you're just here stuffing your face. It was Caleb's parents. In the book, they only used him. If they had shown him an ounce of love, he might not have gone down the dark path. But I wasn't the old Caleb. I sat back down and continued eating. The woman slammed her hand on the table. How can you eat at a time like this? Why not? I chewed slowly. If you're here to lecture me, save it. I'm not listening. She exploded. Let me tell you, Caleb, this mess is your fault. If you don't go apologize, I won't forgive you. Exactly, his father chimed in. The Sterlings cut our supply chain. You know your brother's company relies on them. If this isn't fixed, we're ruined. They played good cop, bad cop, but both were selfish. They could survive, but they wanted me to fix their gravy train. I didn't start this. Elena wants a divorce. Stop meddling. She's not coming back. Eat and leave. This house probably won't be mine much longer anyway. They looked dumbfounded, then furious. Caleb, there was a betrothal contract. If the Sterlings want a divorce, we released the grandfather's contract. Let's see them try to leave then. A contract? I raised an eyebrow. I didn't know about that. Have you seen the comments online? Julian has spun the narrative from homewrecker to tragic soulmate. You think a piece of paper matters. I leaned forward. If you release that contract, you won't just ruin me. The Sterlings will wipe you off the map before the sun rises. I suggest you keep your heads down. It wasn't an empty threat. The Sterling influence in New York was terrifying. My parents exchanged fearful glances, ate in silence, and left. I looked around the empty villa. I couldn't keep this place. It was a target. I listed it with a realtor. Elena still hadn't replied. My phone was flooded with hate mail and harassment calls. I ignored them until a noise outside startled me. A crazy fan had thrown a bucket of red paint at my door, screaming, "Die, Caleb!" Security dragged her away. That was the last straw. I called Elena. She picked up after the 10th ring. "Are you done throwing your tantrum?" she asked coldly. "Julian represents the Thorne family. We have a merger pending. We have to stabilize public opinion." "I don't care about your merger." I cut her off. "Elena, listen closely. We are in the cooling off period. If I don't show up to sign the final decree, there is no divorce. If you let them drag my name through the mud, I will drag everyone down with me. You have 24 hours to clear my name, or I'll do it for you." I hung up. Damn it, I have a temper too. Even if I'm a transmigrator, I won't be a punching bag. Maybe my threat worked. Elena posted a brief statement on Twitter/X. "Please stop the cyberbullying. This is a private matter." Her fans praised her kindness, while still vilifying me. Nice try, Elena. I called my parents and bought the betrothal contract from them for $3 million. It hurt to spend that cash, but I needed the ammunition. It was handwritten by Elena's grandfather, sealed with his private chop. "Sorry, old man, but your granddaughter is pushing me too far." I decided to wait. Let the bullet fly for a while. Thinking he had one, Julian showed up at my door with a realtor. He looked different, arrogant, sharp, radiating superiority. "I'm buying this house." He didn't ask. He announced. I chuckled. Must be nice to have money. "I'm offering 30% over market value. I don't want anything of Elena's remaining in your hands. Sell it and leave New York." If he hadn't said that, I might have considered it. "Not for sale. Not to you." Julian frowned and made a subtle hand gesture to his assistant. I knew that gesture from the book. It meant get it done, no matter what. I wagged a finger. "Julian, no deal. If Elena wants the house, tell her to come herself. Otherwise, get off my porch." "Caleb, do you really think I won't touch you?" "Julian, were you really in a car accident abroad? Or were you just too busy to come back?" His face twitched. I waved my phone. "Your itinerary from 3 years ago? I have copies. Unless you want mutually assured destruction, get lost." Julian grit his teeth, glared at me, and stormed off. He thought I was a pushover. Elena could divorce me, fine, but stealing my assets? No. The diary said this villa was where the original Caleb and Elena first met. The garden was full of roses he planted himself. It meant everything to him. Julian wanted it because he knew that. He wanted to erase Caleb's existence from Elena's history, and Julian was ruthless. Since he couldn't buy it, he decided to burn it. I woke up to the smell of smoke. The fire had already engulfed the ground floor. Security managed to pull me out just as I lost consciousness. I woke up in the hospital. Elena was by my bedside. "You're alive. Good. I'm leaving." I grabbed her wrist. "Elena, he did this. We both knew who he was." She ripped her arm away. "Caleb, I never thought you'd set a fire just to frame Julian." "Frame him?" I laughed in disbelief. "Think what you want. Don't regret it." She stormed out. "How is this woman the heroine? She has no brain. Fina, she wants evidence. I'll rub her face in it." A day passed. Elena wiped the trending topics. But beneath the surface, the Sterling board was unhappy. The divorce was destabilizing the stock. I met with her cousin, Adrian Sterling. He swirled a glass of red wine, smiling like a shark. "Caleb, I underestimated you. The Sterlings looked down on me, but even an ant can bite." I slid a dossier across the table. "You want to win? Here." Adrian opened the file. His eyes lit up. "Reliable. Absolutely. For 3 years, I didn't just sleep in her bed. I did my homework. I knew she loved Julian. The original Caleb, out of jealousy, had investigated Julian thoroughly. He found dirt but died before using it. Now it was my weapon. The Sterling company was shaky. I was the next target. "Elena won't fall easily," Adrian mused. "Julian is backing her. Not for long. Leave that to me." We clinked glasses. I want to take my money and disappear, but Elena was a love-struck fool who almost got me killed protecting an arsonist. It was time to fight back. Leaving the private club, I organized my materials. I posted a single photo on Twitter, the marriage certificate and the grandfather's betrothal contract. The internet exploded. Holy crap, it wasn't a forced marriage. They haven't divorced yet? So Julian IS the other man. My CEO, Julian, would never. "You're gaslighting. Rich people are messy. I'm just here for the tea." Regardless of feelings, Elena is legally married. She's cheating. For weeks, Julian and Elena have been joined at the hip, photographed at every gala and private party. Julian paraded her around with a possessive she's mine arrogance, and his fan base ate it up, making fan cams of their epic romance. The visual was cinematic until I destroyed the context. My post proved our marriage wasn't some back alley deal. It was ordained by the family patriarchs. The betrothal contract was ironclad proof. Then, an anonymous user, bless their heart, leaked photos of our wedding reception. It wasn't a standalone ceremony, but it was part of the massive Sterling Centennial Gala. We exchanged rings. We cut the cake. The internet detectives went to work, and the tide began to turn. The heat became unbearable. Elena paniqued. She called me incessantly. I ignored her. Since the fire ruined the villa, I was staying at a hotel. She found me. I was soaking in the tub when she barged into the bathroom. She spun around, trembling with rage. Caleb, delete the posts. Stop talking nonsense. I tooted. You guys slander me for weeks. Julian burned down my house. And now you want me to shut up? Elena, where's your sincerity? Begging requires humility. She took a deep breath. I'll give you 50 million. Issue a clarification. Say you forced the marriage. Say Julian is innocent. She really would sell her soul for him. Elena, are you dense? You aren't in a position to negotiate. If I don't agree, nobody wins. You think the Sterling board will let this slide? I stood up, wrapped a towel around my waist, and walked up behind her, whispering in her ear, the Sterling family legacy? Not my problem. She shivered. I tightened my grip on her waist. Elena, it's not too late to regret. Dump Julian. Let's get back together. I was testing her, giving her one last exit ramp. She shoved me away, eyes filled with venom. In your dreams, Julian will destroy you. Fina, let's see what weapons he has left. Now, get out. I'm naked, and if Julian finds out you watch me bathe, he might get jealous. She fled. I chuckled and sent a text. Execute phase 2. Elena couldn't deny the legal documents. Julian tried a live stream to explain his side, but the comments section flayed him alive. Someone asked point blank if he was sleeping with a married woman. He froze. Silence is an admission. Then I released the videos. Julian in Europe. Not in a hospital bed, but in a nightclub, draped in models, partying like a rock star. I sent the raw files directly to Elena. Hope you guys can talk this out. Adrian Sterling was ecstatic. You know, he told me over drinks, Elena acts tough, but she's a prude. She probably slept with you a handful of times in 3 years, right? With Julian, she thinks it's a soul connection. Turns out he's just a player. I laughed. In the novel, Julian was the quintessential alpha male. Women were accessories. He wouldn't remain celibate for Elena. Adrian dropped the final bomb. Footage from the day of our wedding 3 years ago. Elena had called Julian that day, begging him to come, saying she'd act as a runaway bride if he just showed up. Julian was too hungover to answer, having partied too hard the night before. The car accident was a lie to cover his binge. The romantic facade crumbled. Elena confronted Julian. The paparazzi caught them screaming at each other on the street. Julian grabbed her by the neck, shaking her. She looked terrified. I watched the video and felt nothing but satisfaction. I opened a bottle of wine. Karma comes around. This was her true love. Not a gentle savior, just a narcissist who saw women as property. Elena couldn't handle the betrayal. Julian couldn't handle her controlling nature. They were imploding. Later that night, a pounding on my hotel door. It was Elena. She was soaked to the bone, standing in the rain, hair plastered to her face. She lunged at me. I stepped back. She stumbled. Caleb, he lied to me. Even you don't want me anymore. She looked 10 years older. The Ice Queen was gone, replaced by a wet, shivering mess. Elena, I'm not a recycling center. Regretting it now. She froze. Caleb, we're still husband and wife. Technically, but don't make me laugh. You saw his true face, so you came running back to the backup plan? Disgusting. She looked shocked. The old Caleb would have wrapped her in a blanket and apologized for existing. Caleb, I was wrong. Can't you forgive me? Why should I? Nobody waits forever, Elena. But you said you'd always love me. I wagged a finger. A month ago? Maybe. Now, I find you repulsive. She staggered. I didn't sleep with him. Does it matter? Emotional cheating is still cheating. And frankly, I tapped my chest. There's no room for you here anymore. Impossible. She tried to grab me, digging her nails into my arm. I can change. Caleb, don't do this. Stop embarrassing yourself. Get out. I shoved the diary and the photo album into her hands. Take your memories. Be at the courthouse day after tomorrow, or I release the rest. She clutched the album, weeping as I slammed the door. 2 days later, she appeared at the courthouse. She looked haggard. She tried one last time. Caleb, can we please not do this? No. I didn't hesitate. 10 minutes later, I walked out with the divorce decree. I waved the paper at her, smiled, and walked away without looking back. Elena tried to grab my sleeve. We can start over. Move on, Elena. I felt a tremor in my soul. The original Caleb finally letting go. He was gone. Elena refused to let go, but I wasn't going to play her game. I posted a photo of the decree. #divorce. The internet cheered. Congrats, King. You dropped the dead weight. Sorry I doubted you, bro. Did you get alimony? Spill the tea. I ignored the trolls asking about money. Instead, I posted the fire department's official report. Arson. The suspect was in custody and had confessed to being hired by a Mr. T. The public connected the dots immediately. Julian Thorne wasn't just a cheater. He was a criminal. He couldn't have her, so he burned her ex's house? Psycho. Lock him up. I don't know what Elena saw in him. One comment read. I used to think Julian was hot. Now he just looks greasy. Let the trash take itself out. Those two deserve each other. Julian's reputation was in free fall. Adrian Sterling made his move. The board held Elena responsible for the PR disaster and the tanking stock price. Her project were failing left and right. Adrian swooped in, bought up her diluted shares, and ousted her as CEO, citing gross negligence and reputational damage. Elena fell from grace hard. The deficit she left was massive, and the board demanded she cover the losses personally. Word on the street was she had to liquidate her real estate portfolio just to stay afloat. I was glad the divorce was finalized. Otherwise, half that debt would be mine. Julian didn't fare any better. He had returned to New York hoping to merge his company with the Sterlings to create an empire. Instead, everything backfired. Then came the construction scandal. A Thorne development high-rise was found to be using substandard concrete. A wall collapsed, injuring workers. It was a manageable crisis, usually settled with money. But Julian, arrogant as ever, ordered his bodyguards to remove the protesting families. A journalist caught the assault on camera. It went viral just as the mayor was launching a Safe City initiative. The DA threw the book at him. The Thorne Group stock became worthless. Julian was arrested. During the arrest, he reportedly screamed, "Do you know who I am?" and demanded his lawyers sue the mastermind behind his downfall. I spent a few $1,000s to boost the arrest video to the top of the trending page. Legal experts dissected his crimes on TikTok. I shook my head. In the original novel, the author let him get away with murder because he was the alpha. But in my world, actions have consequences. Julian bailed out, but it cost him a fortune. He had to pay millions in compensation and tear down the faulty tower. The buyers formed a watch group, monitoring the demolition daily. He was in hell. I checked my phone. A notification popped up, funds received. $100,000,000. Adrian's payment for my assistance. With the cash, I bought a luxury penthouse overlooking Central Park. I started investing, living a quiet, low-key life. 6 months later, news broke that the Thorne Group had filed for bankruptcy. The male lead had officially crashed. I felt a pang of anxiety. Would the world collapse if the protagonist failed? I waited, terrified, for a system reset or a lightning bolt. Nothing happened. The sun rose. The coffee tasted good. I was safe. I met Adrian for lunch a few weeks later. As we walked into the restaurant, we bumped into Elena. She looked awful, gaunt, angry, wearing last season's clothes. She froze when she saw me. You too. You worked together to ruin me. Adrian shrugged. You played a bad hand, cousin. Don't blame the dealer. I smiled. She lunged at me. Caleb, how dare you? I snapped my fingers. The maitre d' appeared instantly. Sir, I thought this was a members-only club, I said, pointing at Elena. Why is this riff-raff allowed in? Elena Gaspard. The man next to her, a short, balding man in a cheap suit, immediately bowed to Adrian and me. Mr. Sterling, Mr. Vance. So sorry. I just brought her along for a quick bite. We're leaving. He grabbed Elena's arm. Move it. Elena yanked her arm back. Who do you think you are? Don't touch me. Slap. The man backhanded her across the face. You think you're still the Sterling princess? Shut up and get in the car, or you're walking home. Elena stood there, stunned, hand on her cheek. She'd never been hit in her life. The man dragged her out as security watched indifferently. I watched her go, feeling absolutely nothing. You sold her. I asked Adrian. She has no brain, Adrian replied, cutting a steak. Her only remaining value is marriage. That man is a supplier. Marrying her off to him cuts my procurement costs by 20%. I took a sip of wine. Makes sense. Elena was still beautiful, even if she was broke. Even seeing the woman or at least the body I inhabited, once loved reduced to this, I felt no pity. She made her choices. Adrian and I clinked glasses. I had money, a penthouse, and a fresh start. Scumbag's gone. Life was good. Story complete.